Yeah, I think I think there's a few things I guess that I should touch on that are really important when you're selling a business. And the main thing is when you're selling to somebody else, you want to know, and so does the buyer, the true value that you have at that liquor store. I think is the biggest thing. You want to understand, how much is actually there. Your books might be off, and you want to reflect the most accurate value of that total store and the inventory you have in your store when selling it. So you get the best bang for your buck, and so does the buyer in this sense. And then I think it brings it back to both parties understand and know exactly what they're getting, and they know it's going to reflect the most accurate amount at the liquor store. So we've ran into scenarios where I think some owners may not know exactly what they pay for what they buy, or they don't keep records of invoices, and that can cause some issues with understanding what your cost value and what the accurate amount that you truly have in that store, because if you're managing it differently, or you're not managing it to the way that you should, that's going to reflect how much your store is really worth. So keeping up with it's going to probably help you out a lot more. One of the reasons a lot of people, when they buy these, we always ask, what departments, what categories do you have, how do you break them up, and we base those off the margin. So you'll get an accurate reflection of how much beer you have, how much spirits in 750s you have, how much you have in 1.5 liters, and so forth. And that way you know what's low when you're buying the store, what's high when you're buying the store, what you need to stock up on more. And that's just another really important part when you're buying these liquor stores. So a lot of the times I think it's preference. Depending on the store, depending on the location, most of the time if the buyer that's buying that store should know that market. I think if you're going to be selling in a market that demands one or more than the other, or if you're going into buying a liquor store that sells to restaurants primarily, you should, I guess, going into that, know what to expect. And I think it's the biggest part. But the reports that we give will, accurately reflect what's high, what's low, and it's up to the buyer to go from there. I think a lot of people, we personally offer two different kinds of inventories for these. One's a little more expensive, one's on the cheaper end. We do a financial count, which is only going to reflect a dollar amount per department, and then we can do a full item level, which will give you, you'll know exactly of how much each bottle, each item in the store you have a quantity of. And I think there's a lot of miscommunication between the value of which one and which one you probably want the most when you're doing, a buy-sell in this case. You'll definitely want something that can accurately reflect exactly of what you have, because you're gonna pay a little more upfront to us to give you that data, or give the customer that data. But as far as the buyer and what they're going into when they have it, they're gonna have a lot more starting. They're gonna have a lot more to know about their inventory, a little more accurately as well. So that's the huge plus. That's probably the biggest thing.